How are we doing today? Oh man, Zen, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good, buddy. How you doing?
Oh, I'm ready for another fantastic series today. Bonyth
Yeah,
and
same.
KameZerg.
And it's interesting because whoever wins this faces off against DeWalt, and I guess the favorite is Bonyth, and Bonyth versus DeWalt is like the old school
Mm.
classic
Oh,
showdown, and it's
yes.
not even going to be in the finals. So then we've got a
No.
even more crazy finals after that. I'm so stoked.
Yeah, because on the other side, you're looking at like a Zeke, JD Conan, Tarson, gonna fight his way up. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
but the other cool thing is that if you survive this round, the round of 8, technically next round's double elimination because we have a third place match.
Okay.
So if you survive this, Kami comes out on top of Bonneth and then gets pummeled by DeWalt, still got a chance for third place.
Yeah, they used to do that in ASL, but they haven't recently. I actually kind of like the third place match. I think it sometimes gives some of the best games,
Oh,
weirdly enough.
absolutely. It's the people who they know they can't win, but they still got a lot of fight left in them. They're like, all right, one
Yeah.
more match, come on.
Plus, it's almost like there's less pressure on them as well because
Yes.
there seems to be like a psychological advantage in the third place match where you sometimes see like players going all out.
Yeah, and it's so when you're it feels like when you're in the finals, right? It's like, oh crap, do or die. But in
Yeah,
third place,
yeah,
it's like I'm not playing for first, but I am playing for a few more bucks.
yeah. You're playing for a few more bucks and bragging rights, that kind of thing. And I think some like historically speaking, I think even like when Flash was playing random, like because of the third place match, we got to see some crazy good games.
Yeah,
I think that's
absolutely.
happened a lot of the time where, yeah, you'll usually see some very interesting games that otherwise wouldn't be played. So I'm happy that we've got that here in the IPSL as well.
Yeah, and I think especially if we look at what our top four is shaping up to be, I think we're gonna get some really good games in the third place spot. Obviously, I
Yeah.
think the entire bracket's gonna be incredible. No
hmm
bias here or anything.
but pretty much everyone in this round of 8 are pretty good players. And there's a
Yes.
couple of faces you don't usually see, but not many. Pretty much all of these guys have been around for a very long time and have always performed at a high level. And I'm super curious what finals we're going to end up with, especially because it's guaranteed that it won't be a DeWalt Bonnett finals.
That is so wild to think about. Like, imagine a foreign event where it's not DeWalt and Bonneth in the finals.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like in the BSL, that's like happens almost every single time. It's crazy. So the fact that we're not getting that makes it even super interesting. And we still get to potentially see them show down in the semifinals as well. It's like the best of both worlds.
Yeah. And the semifinals are best of 7, so it's not like they can't go all 7 games anyways, knowing these two.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
But
these guys are the kind of people that go 4-3 as well. Like
yeah.
it'll most likely go to game 6 or 7.
Yeah, and then you get through that and you still have another best of 7 to try and take home the title. Oh,
Yeah. Would be
but
super curious if someone like JD Conan can manage it.
ooh, JD
Like,
Conan, that would be awesome.
I think that would be a bit of an upset, but an interesting upset. And I certainly think he's capable.
Yeah, it's interesting to see because he's still like it's weird to say he's still an up and comer in air quotes. As in he's
Mm.
still pretty new, he's still very young, he's still fighting his way up, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm really interested to see how he does with that because if he does have a top 4, top 2 showing or a victory, I think that's
hmm
going to set a very good tone for the next couple of years in his career.
I think so. Well, StarCraft is kind of, I don't know if you've seen Game of Thrones, but you remember like the Battle of the Bastards where like they're all just crammed in and they're struggling for air and they're all trying to
Yes.
claw their way to the top. That's basically StarCraft, right? And only a few of these guys are able to actually get to the top and get oxygen. Whereas JD Conan's one of those guys that's just recently poked his head up and who knows, he could climb to the top of the pile.
Yeah, and I personally think he's got a good shot of it. Like you get a
Yeah.
ZVZ against Zeke, which is, anything against Zeke is going to be hard, but it's a ZVZ, so it's not impossible, is what I would say.
Right. And
And
they're
then,
both CVZ specialists, so that will be super interesting of a matchup itself.
yeah, and then, I mean, if we're going to compare, going against either Dragon or Tarson after Zeke, I feel like that's like oh, this isn't nearly as bad. No
Yeah,
offense
yeah.
to Dragon and Tarstan are both incredible players, and they've earned their top 8 spot. But I think if we're like realistically comparing them versus Zeke, who is considered like top Zerg of the foreign scene.
Yeah, man, he's a scary Hungarian dragon. He can absolutely decimate a lot of players. You can't underestimate him, and has some of the best muta control out there in the
Yeah.
foreigner scene as well. But KameZerg and Bonyth, the matchup we've got today, is very interesting because Bonyth is kind of like the European Snow in that he's very microcentric, but
Yeah.
PVZ is his worst matchup. Not by a long shot, but it's a slight
Yeah.
weakness compared to those other two matchups, and that might help KameZerg actually find a way of dislodging him in this quarterfinal situation. And KameZerg also has a little bit of an off-meta style, which could throw Bonyth off.
Absolutely. And what I find really interesting is that it tends to be Protoss who are really good at micro that struggle the most in this matchup. And I'm
Yeah.
not smart enough to understand what that could be, but I do feel like it is something that I've noticed.
Well, I think that micro is hardest to abuse in PvZ. I feel like the players with more of a strong macro engine tend to do well from that mid to late game transition point. Once Zerg start getting into cracklings and plague, they don't fall behind. Whereas if you're more microcentric, you might do great in the mid game, but as soon as that late game rolls around, I feel like they struggle to compete with the Zerg and the sheer numbers that is able to be macroed out of like 10 plus attributes.
Yeah, and first map's Eclipse, and I feel like Eclipse is a kind of a interesting map. If you're microing, especially if you're a Bonyth who wants to, micro some stuff, you're probably gonna go for a Reaver drop on this kind of map. I don't know. There's a lot of space for Hydras to just kind of maneuver around you with whatever you're doing.
Yeah, maybe so, but yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I would say it's still an ever so slightly Protoss favored map. Protoss tend to do better on 2-player maps when it comes to PvZ, just because of the nature of how important information is and getting a guaranteed first scout and harassing the Zerg right away. And if you force the hatchery at the third, it's actually quite far away from the main if you do have to plant that hatchery down there. So it doesn't always feel great as Zerg. There are ways of Protoss abusing that. So yeah, I would say this map is slightly more edged towards Bonyth out of the two. But yeah, still a very winnable game for Kame.
Yeah, I think it's very doable. I don't know. This was never my favorite map, but that was just because it was back when I was really bad at the game, I guess. But
going back to what you were saying about like you're not quite sure what's going on with like Protoss players that are microcentric struggling PvZ. Well, it's also because Reavers are the hardest to utilize in PvZ, and most Protoss players that are really good in terms of their micro abuse Reavers like crazy in PvT and PvP. So when it runs around to now it's PvZ, you can't really get value out of that unit in the same way anymore, which is why Snow struggles.
That makes a lot of sense, actually, if you're so centric on one style and then it just doesn't work. And I'm kind of curious because if anyone's going to push something like that forward, I can see Snow trying something new. But I'm kind of curious what next ASL will bring because there's no way he looks at his performance in the last couple seasons and doesn't go, I need something new against Zerg.
Well, yeah, and some of the best Protoss versus Zerg players tend to either be macro powerhouses or optimizers. Like someone like Mini, for example, he's pretty good in PvZ, but the reason why he's good is because he has way better optimizations in his build order timings and getting things min-maxed out relative to what he's scouting. Someone like Snow, he's really good with his unit control and understanding on how to engage, but when it comes to like squeezing out every drop of juice out of the orange, he's not quite there.
Yeah, I think that's entirely fair. Well, that's entirely accurate, I should say. Sorry. I get stuck in my little caster trench of just saying the same sentence, You know how that is? You get stuck on your like one little hook word.
Yeah.
No, but you're 100% right. And I'm kind of curious because if there is no forward movement on that, you're going to see some new Protosses rise to power who do come up with something new that can actually beat Zerg, along with still being good against Terran and Protoss.
I just don't think there's enough innovation in PvZ. I think a lot of Protoss players are quite stagnant. They're not going to the lab and rethinking and trying to reinvent the wheel. They're kind of just a little bit stuck in their ways, and
Yeah.
that's okay. I mean, you can't focus on all 3 matchups. Usually you focus on 2, and the third one is kind of like, oh, I'll just like do what I can and just whatever, you know. And if you want to be a good ladder player, that actually makes sense. Say if you want to be a high rank Zerg player, it kind of makes sense to only focus on ZVP and ZVZ because you're not going to even match with a lot of Terrans on the ladder. So you can kind of like let that be a secondary matchup that you don't think about too much.
The other thing, you know, I love shifting blame on Protoss as much as the next person, but Zergs don't exactly innovate in the matchup either.
Yes and no.
There are Battle Zerg. It's like, well, what if we just make more Hydras?
Yeah, there are. Like, let's look at Soma for example. He's been showing how strong cross-teching is. You know, where you're kind of like going Spire and Den, and you kind of keep them guessing. And in a way, the Protoss has to sacrifice the second Corsair to even know what the Zerg is doing if they're doing it well enough. The problem is a lot of Zergs are lazy, and like the Protoss players, they aren't getting used to that new way of playing. They're not abusing their race to the fullest extent. And yeah, that's the Zerg's fault for, you know, not keeping up with the trends, you could say. But it is hard to be good at cross-teching. It's not like just because it's strong doesn't mean it's easy to do. Yeah.
I mean, if it was easy to do, Zerg would be winning every ASL, right?
True. Usually we've got Zergs winning the ASL, but it's like you can count them on like 2 or 3 fingers. You know, there's not many Zergs that are capable of playing at that extent. But yeah, players like Solkey were in, you know, very long-standing domination, and now you've got Soma as he came back from the military. Although I'm pretty sure he had a desk job, so he was still playing a lot during that time.
I'm excited for someone to be back. Soma is my favorite macro Zerg. Like if I'm like I want to play like somebody, it's Soma. Usually.
Yeah. Well, he's scary because he's really strong macro, but he also is an optimizer. Yeah, that's the thing, is that he can do everything, you know, and that's a scary Zerg. When you can play super solid standard and mix it up, like you're going to basically have the other guy on, especially Protoss players, on the back foot, just even trying to analyze what you're going to do. Whereas someone like Effort, you can pin him down. Oh, okay, you're a macro Zerg that doesn't like to mix it up. I won't even expect you to open Lurker. I know you're going to go straight into Mutas as a Terran. You can just go blind Valkyries and be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is what defines like the great players, right? From like the really good to the great is the ability to just go, I'm going to do something different. You know? Especially in extended. In a best of 3, you can win 2 games off of the same build. Realistically.
Right. But anything more than that, yeah, it's a different ball game, right? You have to mix it up, or they're just going to start metagaming you.
Yeah, and it's like I've played series where it's like I try to do the same thing twice, lose twice. Like, all right, let's switch it up, and then you start bringing it back. Like you need to be able to have a little bit of variety in your play, or at least be able to react well to what your opponent's doing.
I think that's like DeWalt's biggest weakness, especially when it comes to mirror matchup PvP, is he doesn't mix it up enough to be a truly great player in terms of like the Korean pros. I mean, obviously he's very good compared to the foreigners, but if he ever wants to have an ASL run, he's going to have to dig deeper and be a little bit more varied with how he plays just to keep them guessing.
Yeah, sorry. I was just getting players ready. Sorry.
Please stand by while we try to connect you.
My brain just blue screen for a moment.
On.exe has stopped working.
Man, I don't know. We're just trying to get all the players together here. The problem is that you're too good at talking, and I kind of get lost in listening to you because it's like, oh yeah, this guy just knows what he's talking about, and it's like, oh crap, I have to be able to respond to him, don't I?
No worries, man. Do your thing. We got Bonyth here already in the lobby. We're just waiting on KameZerg, a Swedish player.
Yeah.
My bet is obviously going to be on Bonyth, though. He's just that good of a player. I do think he's going to win this, but I wouldn't give it like 100%. I'd probably give it like a 70-30, 75-25 split in terms of favorability.
I can see this series maybe not going the whole distance, but this is not going to be a 3-0, I don't think.
Probably not. I imagine a 3-1 or 3-2. Yeah. I think 3-1's slightly more likely, but I can see it also going to 3-2.
Yeah, I think 3-1's where I would put the like the betting line if I was like running a gamble.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I would do. Yeah,
Huh. You know what? Maybe I should be a good stream and run a prediction too.
you could do that.
People might actually want to see. Let's see what the people think.
Yeah, cast a little poll for the guys.
All right. Bonus. Kame. Go ahead and slap 10 minutes on that. There you go, guys. Get your gambles in.
A little bit of a gamble.
Honestly, I think like the channel point in Gamba is one of the best things that Twitch ever really did for stream engagement.
I think it's good engagement. Yeah, it's a good way of interacting with the chat. Yeah, for sure. I think RT stream does it a lot, right? With like the salt,
Yes.
predicting whether or not RT will win that game or lose that game. Yeah, it's good interaction.
Yeah, and it gives everyone something to do in chat, right? It's like
Mm.
I hate a lot of things that Twitch has done, but sometimes they knock it out, you know?
Yeah. There's a lot of things they do wrong, but there's a few things they do right. What's that saying? Like a broken clock is right 2 times a day.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Players are ready.
Ooh, let's jump on into it. Game number 1, Bonyth versus KameZerg on Eclipse. Let's get it started, guys. Spawning here in the top right. From Poland, the red Protoss, Bonyth. And his opponent down here in the bottom left, the blue Zerg, hailing from Sweden, KameZerg.
All right. What are your how wild does? Yeah, let's keep it broad. How wild does KameZerg go game 1? Are we looking for like a tone setting wild, or are we looking for like a sneaky something?
He's already optimizing really well. He's got the vertical optimization on this drone at the bottom patch. I like to see him go for that right off the gate. It shows that he's locked in, trying to squeeze every drop. So I love that. I love to see that from a Zerg, where you're like, everything wants to be crisp and perfect. It does help you hit those timings if you do want to pull off something like a 973. And yeah, I think that it's highly likely he'll put pressure onto Bonyth. But his style is so different. Like, he's comfortable just doing his own thing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh. A gate first opening from Bonyth. We're going to put on... He's ready for the pressure.
Well, I mean, this is quite common from Bonyth. He's not the kind of guy like DeWalt who opens up Forge pretty much every single time. He's more of a microcentric player, as you know, so the gateway first does make sense, but there is a lot more decision tree you have to be aware of, and some mini games you might have to play where you're like blocking the ramp with a zealot and probe while trying to stop the lings from, you know, killing your pylon or probe while the third zealot's about to pop out and things like that. But he's got that dialed in. Bonyth is very good at knowing the nuanced timings of what you can have when and what he needs to do when.
Yeah. And I'm very curious because so we open overpull, which is a very good counter to gate first. But are we going to actually make enough lings to handle it? Or are we going to, we'll make like a ling or two? Because obviously he's taking the third base miles away.
He's not drone scouting, which makes me think he's going to make 4 lings at a minimum.
Yeah, as long as he makes them, we should be fine. That should force the zealot back pretty quickly. But...
yeah, the Zealot's not even going to try and hide from the Overlord, so he's going to spot that now. And as you can see, 2 pairs of lings, like I was saying. If you're not going to drone scout, it makes sense. Oh, he gets a pretty good attempt at a surround on that probe, but Bonyth too slippery, keeps that alive.
Yeah, probes are really good at getting out of sticky situations.
Yeah, they're the most nimble unit, quite literally an S-class unit. He's going to hide that for just a second and see if he can poke in again, but there are another pair of Zerglings that have just now hatched. One's going to chase the probe down. He's going to challenge Bonyth back at home with 5. This is not to kill Bonyth. This is just a pressure play to force him to respect that and keep these Zealots back at home. Like you can see, he's got the probe and Zealot on the ramp, and the other Zealot will try and clear those out while waiting for the third.
Yeah, and it's just a big old dance. Keep their attention. Oh, perfect timing on that third Zealot.
Yeah. Yeah, Bonyth is not necessarily the best macro player, but he does have pretty good early game optimizations as well. So he's good at like getting ahead early game and not really worrying about being a bit off with his macro later on.
Yeah, and it's a very good style. As long like the early game is what matters the most, especially in this matchup. As long as you can nail that and get yourself into wherever you're comfortable in the mid to late game, you're fine.
Yeah, it's something I talked a lot about with Wolfix back in the day. Like the first 5 minutes of the game is essentially the most important, and if you want to become a better player, you might as well just ignore what happens after that. Just study the first like 5-6 minutes of every single replay and like really dial in what you're doing wrong in that early game.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how quickly you fix your first 5-6 minutes, and then suddenly your win rate jumps 20% because that was really most of your issues.
Unironically, it's so important. Like pretty much everything that happens after that is almost like unnecessary to analyze.
Yeah, because everything that happens after that is just a result of everything that went right or wrong.
And you can see KameZerg, he's going up to about 12 lings total. He's actually got more than that. He's got 16. He's got these other 4 over here.
Yeah,
so that's a little bit more than usual. So usually you'll make just about 12-ish and kind of use that as a keep away from the Protoss coming onto the map. But, you know, I guess he's either a little bit scared of Bonyth or just wants to really make sure he can put on a lot of pressure so that the Zealots can't come out for a long time. Like usually you'll see a 5 Zealot pressure timing once his cannon's finished, but KameZerg doesn't want to do that. He wants to take the fight to Bonyth right away and start getting some good surface area on this. Sometimes you can kill a building before the cannon finishes warping in. He's elected to choose the core to slow down the tech. The core's getting very low. The cannon's finishing up on. He's gonna kill this cybernetics core. That's absolutely crazy.
Well, we're not in. One only got in. There's still enough here to...
Yeah, a lot of times you'll see the players try and kill the gateway to limit the production of the Protoss. So it's interesting that he elected to go for the core. I'm not sure exactly what's better, but it is common to go for the gateway, not the core in these situations.
Weird little drone pull. I think you tried to pull a couple down here and accidentally pulled the whole line.
Yeah, he's really light on drones because of that ling pressure, it has to be said.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Unfortunately, we did already get the Stargate down. If we had sniped that somehow before the Stargate goes down, could you imagine?
Yeah, it would be great, but it's so unlikely to happen. That's why I think most players will just target the gateway and limit how many Zealots can be produced.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, KameZerg wanted to kill that instead. It does cost more. Like the core was, 200 instead of 150, so I guess he sets back Bonyth a little bit more minerals than usual. But I think this is still okay for Bonyth since the Stargate went down fine.
Well, it does delay the Citadel, if nothing else. The Citadel,
True. You'll have a much slower leg enhancements timing, right?
And slower Templar. So if you want, like, he's going Spire here, but if you've had a Hydra follow-up to this, you get an extra, like, 20 seconds on getting a Hydra bust in there before Storm. Maybe even longer.
Yeah. It certainly would make, like, a pre-Storm Hydra bust a lot more viable, because, you could hit, like, at 9 minutes and still maybe just be ahead of the Storm upgrade by a slither.
Yeah. But there's no way of mapping that out because it's so rare that people actually put their core in the wall anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you see it sometimes. It just depends on how they want to optimize, right? And a lot of Protoss players occasionally would have thrown that Forge in the main also to stop that upgrade being sniped by a fake Hydra burst. But a lot of players are just protecting that Forge with the more modern wall-in with the cannon above and below that Forge with the gateway extended, whereas Bonyth hasn't gone for that style of wall this game.
All right, Scourge get in here and get a beautiful scout.
Yeah, Templar's archive starting at 7 minutes 30 is a little bit late, so he's definitely slowed down the tech path of Bonyth ever so slightly here. But he has got a pretty sizable Corsair fleet already.
Yeah, and he's still making them.
Well, you kind of want to go... Wait, has he got the +1? No, okay, no. Yeah, he needs to make 6 if he hasn't got +1.
Yeah, I guess that's his goal, is just to go 6 and then be able to one-shot things, like the Scourge, but...
Yeah, you can go 7 as well, assuming that 1 will be sniped, so that you can still one-shot even if 1 gets sniped. But yeah, 6 or 7's fine here from Bonyth, and some safety sunks from KameZerg while he's starting to make some Mutalisks as well. You'll even sometimes have to make 2 Sunkens at each base, depending on the timing of the Protoss.
He's going up to 7 stairs.
Yeah, it makes sense, because if you lose one, you still want to be able to one-shot. Without that +1, it becomes a problem if you don't.
Nice little wall there.
Okay. Yeah, the SimCity's good here, but only 1 Sunken. So there is a world in which Bonyth actually puts on a lot more pressure than he should be able to. He's going to have to reinforce this with more Zerglings, and he is doing that. But luckily, the Zealot speed timing is really delayed, so that's taken a long time for Bonyth to get up here. So he at least does have a lot more Zerglings to fight with. The SimCity's pretty good as well, but all the Overlords are dying. Yudlis actually going into the main base. There's no safety cannons in the main base, so he has to pull all of those to the natural. He's starting some safety cannons in that natural expansion now, but a lot of probes could go down.
That defense actually went a lot better back here than it should have.
Yeah, well, like I was telling you, you kind of have to make 2 Sunkens in these situations to be super safe. And if he wants to be aggressive with his mutas, it would have made more sense to make a 2nd Sunken there at the 3rd. He's going to rotate around to that natural now, killing more and more probes. Eventually he'll stabilize, but he has lost a lot of probes, it has to be said.
Yeah, that work count's really diminished from where it should be.
Yeah. Bonyth being able to kill this base would be huge. He's going to have a little bit of a hard time cleaning that up completely. He's not even mining for a while. Sayers have come back to deal with these mutas now. I would say that this damage is okay for Kame, but losing all the mutas in the trade doesn't feel great, especially with the painful 3rd base not mining. So I think this is still favoring Bonyth just because of how much damage was done at the 3rd.
Yeah. It's a more critical damage for Zerg than for Protoss.
Yeah, ever so slightly. If he just made a 2nd Sunken, this would have been so good for Kame.
Yeah. Oh. Hello. We have a bad rally here, it seems.
Getting a little bit of love taps off on those Scourge, softening them up, and more Overlords going down. He has made a bunch of Overlords, by the way. He's got 4785, so he's prepared to lose more, but losing mining here is really starting to hurt KameZerg. Warp Blade slicing through more drones. Go on.
You just gotta drop a spore at this point, I feel like. We are so far beyond.
Well, it's a bit too late to drop spores now. Like, if you're gonna go spore, you go spore preemptively, because if you take damage and then go spores, you're even more behind because you're wasting money and drones on defenses. GG is called. Pretty convincing win there for Bonyth. I think that was just a bit of lack of preparation from KameZerg. If he wants to be aggressive with the mutas, you have to make a little bit more static defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looked like he had a lot of good ideas. Like, he had a lot of stuff he was doing there that looked right, and it just sometimes Bonyth is just doing better than you know?
Yeah. I think it would have been way better for Kame, because you don't even have to make 2 Sunkens at both locations, because you've got a better Sim City at the natural, so you can go 2 Sunken at the 3rd, 1 Sunken at the natural, and just block with Lings and what have you. And then I think he's super safe against that. He eventually does need to worry about the Corsairs later, but he doesn't take as much damage. He's mining for longer, so he's got more answers as well. Yeah, I think a little bit of a lack of preparation hurt him there.
Yeah, I mean, and that's game 1. I hope to see that, because he looked like he had the right idea. It's just, like you said, wasn't prepared to actually handle the rest of the strategy.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is that KameZerg probably is used to that working against most players, but Bonyth is not most players. Bonyth will hit you at timings and squeeze out value that you're not expecting. And that's kind of the crazy thing about StarCraft. You practice and practice and practice, and you think it kind of develops bad habits, because if you don't play against the top level of players in your practice all the time, you kind of take for granted what actually you need to do to walk the tightrope properly.
Absolutely. All right, chat. We're going to take a quick break here while players get ready for game 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. hello. We are back, guys, for more games.
Nice.
You ready for more games, then?
Hell yeah, brother.
I feel like I don't know. I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like KameZerg can pull game 2. If like game 1's the warm up, like, all right, this is what's actually like playing against Bonyth. I think there's a possibility of a game 2 pull.
All right, so do you want me to devil's advocate why that's not true?
Is it really devil's advocate if you're just saying what's probably the truth?
I'm being diplomatic, but yeah, this is Radeon. It's very hard to SimCity your third, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Both players are ready, though, so we're jumping into it. Game number 2, Radeon, Bonyth versus KameZerg. Let's get it. Spawning here in the top right. Currently leading the series 1-0, Bonyth from Poland as Protoss. And his opponent down in the bottom right needs to fight back strong. KameZerg from Sweden, the blue Zerg.
We gotta get him little gold lines across it, so it's the Swedish flag first color.
I kind of like the Swedish flag, actually. It's pretty stylish.
It is a very nice, very clean flag.
Yeah, can't complain.
Yeah, it's better than the British one.
Well, the English flag is very similar, but the British one, the Union Jack, not so much. But yeah, the English flag is kind of the same flag, but with white and red.
Cross, right?
Yeah, that's the St. George flag, yeah. Even though St. George has never set foot in England, which is crazy.
That sounds like something they would have done, 600 years ago. Yeah, we'll call it the St. George Cross. It's fine. It'll be our flag.
Well, yeah, wasn't white, didn't set a foot in England, but we're going to get a flag after him to represent our country. Why not? Dude slayed a dragon, apparently,
Hey, I respect it. Get out there and kill dragons, man.
Probably was like a monitor lizard or something, but yeah.
Huh. Oh, was that a dragon?
Everyone just like really blowing up their exploits out of proportion.
Yeah, everyone does that today. It's just called social media now.
True. Okay, so more or less the same here.
Yeah.
Overpull versus Gateway Expand, and Bonyth is scouting correctly first. He's going to hide the second Overlord, or at least attempt to, but as soon as Bonyth sees that, he could wait in the natural for the drone. And he's going to, yeah.
That's just an unfortunate. You get first scouted, it is what it is.
Yeah, you can't really hide the drone with the first scout from the Protoss. You kind of just have to take your third and deal with it. And this is even worse because the third base is towards Bonyth. So yeah, suboptimal.
Yeah. Then obviously there's no way for him to knowing, but in this scenario, if he had taken 6 o'clock, it would have been a lot better.
Yes and no. Like, it's so far away, and it's probably harder to SimCity than the natural third. Either way, it's hard to SimCity, but you could say that the natural third is ever so slightly easier, but with it being towards Bonyth, it is worse.
Yeah.
4 lings as well, to be expected, especially if you're not going to drone scout. He's actually going to open up 6, so he can put on pressure.
Yeah.
There's another option for Zerg. He's going to do the same thing as he did on Clear Clips, basically.
Yeah. It's looking a lot like last game. Probe Scout just won't die.
Oh, it used to be that Protoss.
The third.
Ooh, maybe he's going to throw it down now. But I mean, it used to be that you wouldn't probe scout this early with Gateway Expand. You'd rather optimize minerals, but they've changed it. In the meta, you actually probe scout a lot earlier with Gateway Expand now. So the Zergs don't even know for sure what they're up against. Like, sometimes based on the probe scout alone, you could tell whether or not it was Forge or Gateway. Now you don't have that luxury because the Protoss players are just scouting at more or less the same time with either build.
Yeah, it keeps everyone guessing, and that is very good for the Protoss, because if you think it's just going to be a Forge first, and you just, drop your hatcheries, and suddenly Zealots are walking in.
Yeah, what we're seeing here is like a very common mini game that's played. It's just to keep the Zealots back at home. Like, it's in very rare situations against a worse opponent, maybe you get these lings into the main, but the main purpose is just to keep the Protoss back and not allow them to come out and put on pressure until they're set up back at home with a cannon and a wall.
Yeah. At this point, Bonyth can't do much except try and... He can try and push the lings up, but the lings just run around, so you have to keep Zealots back. It's It's a very APM intensive thing between the two of them.
Yeah, this is risky from Bonyth though, because like, say he flooded Lings already, he could just surround these 2 Zealots that are out on the map. So Bonyth's taken a little bit of liberties by sending these out, but he's pretty sure with that probe scout, there's no additional Lings being made.
Yeah, it's very interesting because last game was a Ling flood, so I guess he's really relying on what his probe's seeing. And his probe does see a drone pop here and there.
Yeah, there is a small world where he made the Lings super early and the probe didn't see them, but that's pretty rare for that to occur.
Yeah. We did squeeze out a few more. We were ready if there was a commitment from the Zealot.
You basically slowly add on Lings to a minimum of 12, and then you can go back to droning. Sometimes you'll even make 14, 16 total, just to be super safe against the 5 Zealot move out. But yeah, going up to about 12 and then droning is kind of necessary as Zerg in these situations.
Yeah, we got a dozen. Later coming on
dirty
down.
dozen.
And now
they're going to form their own rap group.
Man, Streets of Char are rough, man.
Probably going to be a lot of funerals for these rappers that will most surely die in this game.
Yeah.
And then the surviving Zerglings can like make songs about it, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
Eminem's like Toy Soldiers and stuff, you know?
Yeah, look, if there's nothing else to do, you might as well at least make some money off of it.
True, true. Everything's like that. It's just pure commercialism, right?
Man, back in my day, gang violence was just about the fun, you know?
They were in it for the love of the game.
These days, everything's so commercialized.
Fake beefs just to sell records and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the Overlord's super deep in the main, so Bonyth's actually going to get away with making a Dragoon to help kill that, so the Corsair isn't delayed in its scouting, which is super important.
Yeah, especially because our tech should be coming along here. Yeah. Inspired 2/3 done.
Yeah. And eventually they'll obviously be Scourged, so you kind of need to scout now while you still can. So it's super important to get this. Like, this is like the only thing that makes the game more even for Protoss. If they couldn't scout like this, they'd be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and with a timing like this, if he had stuck around to kill that Overlord, by the time he got down,
he's gonna get this.
Pop.
He's actually going to kill this Overlord. Like, yeah, this is 2 Overlords dead now. This is actually a bit of a problem for Kame.
Yeah, you shouldn't be losing 2. Just set this right on a supply block too.
It's interesting because he sacrificed an Overlord to get a deep scout into the main of Bonyth. So, like, he was maybe a little bit scared that Bonyth was going to do something crazy this game, like going for a fast Citadel and like trying to just run it down with like a more all-in style.
Yeah. But Bonyth, not going to do that. We're just going to macro up, flex our macro muscles.
Yeah. It's interesting because there's actually a lot of builds that Protoss can do. They just don't usually do them. Like, you could even go like, 5-gate Goon or 7-gate Goon. Like, there's so many interesting ways you can play Protoss. It's just not, gets one connection. Can't find the other, though. That would have been such a good pickup if you got that Corsair. But, it's a shame. Bonyth breaking the ankles of that final Scourge.
Whoop. Juke shives.
He's making safety cannons this game, so he's going to be a lot safer against the possible Muta transition from Kame. Although we haven't seen any just yet. He has got a second gas, but he is pumping Hydra, so we're not going to be seeing that Muta play, it seems, for at least the time being.
Looks like he at least wants to go Hydra for now.
He would take the third gas if he was going Mutas, and he's not taking the third gas, so it does seem that he's going to go Hydra-centric into Lurkers at this rate. He could go Hydra Muta later, but it's certainly going to be Hydra for quite some time.
Yeah. Oh, our orders are stacked.
Ooh.
Oh.
I see this a lot from Zergs, where like their Hydras are just slightly out of position and they lose an Overlord or 2 for free, and it's so painful, man. It's so crazy. Bonyth is too good not to punish that as well.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is against most other Protosses, you might be able to sneak away with that once or twice.
Right.
But this is Bonyth we're talking about.
That's why it's always better to play against superior opponents in StarCraft, because they show you your weaknesses and exploit your holes, so to speak. But yeah, now we got the Zealots there. That's really going to run it down. There is no sunk in here. KameZerg is in a lot of trouble. More Overlords being ravaged. He can't even pump out of all these lavas right now. He's almost supply blocked. And yeah, he's going to actually force a turnaround from Bonyth for the time being. But if he makes one small misstep, he could just die to Bonyth.
Yeah. Look at this Overlord farm here.
Ooh. He can't afford to lose anything else. Okay, that's one more Overlord.
7 there for +1. Delete.
Yeah. I mean, Bonyth is close to doing critical damage. He's replaced a few Overlords to give him a bit of headway to pump out units. But if you notice how little units are committed from Bonyth, like he's got hardly any Zealots here. This is just a bare minimum to kill Overlords. And he's supply blocking KameZerg over and over again.
Yeah, you gotta be careful not to overstay your welcome, which Bonyth is very good about avoiding, but I mean, back at home, he has spent all this time throwing down infrastructure. We got all of our gateways coming online. We're getting our robo. Like, he doesn't have a whole lot of army, but he doesn't need it because Kami can't make anything ever.
Yeah, the biggest weakness of Bonyth is his macro, but he's good at still hitting his production cycles. Like, even though he doesn't tell the probes to go mine the minerals, he'll still build up a load of probes, so he's not always wasting that production time. So you can see he's got a pretty good economy.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing, as long as you're hitting your macro cycles, even if you're not being super optimized. So he does, like, pick up a lot of his own slack, despite focusing on micros so much. Does kill a Corsair here, and there's only, like, 4 remaining. If these Hydras went out of position, he'd be okay, but he actually might get a couple of drones with this DT.
Yeah. Oh, but we are going to sacrifice basically all the Corsairs here.
Oof. The 4 drones go down. That's a pretty sizable chunk, considering you already have been supply blocked so long. You're already behind schedule with your timing, so this is just pouring salt into the wound right now.
The only saving grace is that there's only 1 Corsair left.
Yeah.
Severely wounded. It's the only saving grace.
If he can get this 4th online and survive against the next wave from Bonyth, this will be great, but Bonyth's not going to just allow him to take that for free. He's going to challenge.
Yeah. We should have Lurker aspect soon.
Well, he's mining the 3rd gas, so yeah, it should be on the way, but it'll take a little bit of time for him to actually get those. Like, oh, that's a beautiful surround from Bonyth as well. Oh, that's so painful. He can't defend this 4th base anymore. He's going to have to just let that die.
Oh, and it just as it finishes, too. However, he has got Mutas coming.
Yeah, he's going to have some map control here. So he's going to go for a Hydra Muta style, which is interesting. He's also getting Lurkers as well as this. But he has to still sacrifice the 4th base no matter what. But now he has some counter pressure options with those mutas. There are some safety cannons, so I don't think he'll do critical damage. But let's see if he can snipe a High Templar or force out some storms. Okay, 2 storms forced out. And the storm killed his own Templar. There's no safety cannon in the natural, actually, only the main. Ooh, stormed a couple of his own probes there.
Oh no!
Bonyth just doesn't care about his own probes, man.
No.
Oh my days. He's like, let me give you an advantage. That turns the game around a little bit here. Suddenly, KameZerg has a lot more chance in this game all of a sudden. He's still in trouble, but now he's kind of out of the woods a little bit.
God, that hurts. That hurts so much.
Painful.
The little Templar that did not care about the friend or foe tag.
No, he's an aristocratic Templar that doesn't care about the working class arm.
Nah. That's fine. We'll make more probes, right?
Suppose so. But I mean, this does kind of equal out the game ever so slightly. I still think Bonyth is a slight favorite, but it's no longer as scary. And he has got a few Lurkers to hold the line here against Bonyth. Bonyth's still going to challenge that. He has got 2 observers. If they get sniped, completely shuts down this push. But he did force out a lot of storms, so it's actually kind of hard for Bonyth to chew through this. He has to maneuver around to the left side here to get a better flanking position. He's got a couple of storms available, but the observer goes down. Luckily, he's got a 3rd observer to replenish that, so there's still a viable way of chewing through this defensive line of KameZerg.
But it's so expensive because he just doesn't have the storm. Well, storm like that helps
a lot.
But
yeah, he's got a couple, but not a lot. Luckily, there's not a massive bulk to the Zerg army because of all that crazy early game shenanigans with the supply blocks and what have you, so Bonyth's still trading reasonably well.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna try and dive in here, see if we can take the fight.
The High Templar has a Storm. It's being targeted down by those Mutalisks. Does get the Storm off. That's a pretty good one as well. The Lurker sucking that up as well. So that's just like 1 or 2 Dragoon shots away from dying in a moment here. Bonyth doing a pretty good job of just trading.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, no one's gonna. Kame can't push, and Bonyth can't really break this. But a good trade for Bonyth as he gets his 3rd setup.
Yeah, there is a world in which KameZerg can turn this around. He's got his 4th base up to 6 now. He just needs to get, like, 5 or 6 drones mining over there. He did kill off a decent chunk off of Bonyth's army. It's more or less pure goon at this point. So there is a world in which KameZerg can turn this around, but if he doesn't punish Bonyth now while this 3rd is getting set up, he's going to find it harder and harder. He kind of needs to skirmish a little bit here until Bonyth gets that High Templars back online.
Yeah, and at this point you just need like 2 rounds of Hydras from all your hatcheries, and you just kind of send it.
Yeah, he's starting to trickle out a little bit of utility in the way of High Templars right now. He's actually got a pack of Hydras hiding at the 12 o'clock, maybe to go for a flank now, see if they can run it down and catch anything out in the open like some straggling Templars, but he's not finding anything. He's actually, all of the army of Bonyth is down at 6 o'clock. Losing this base again is quite brutal. He can do nothing about that. He kind of has to go for a counter-attack.
Yeah, it's losing this twice really sucks. He's had a drone down here in the bottom left, but he's just never taken the base. Yeah,
Bonyth's checking for a sneaky base, but doesn't find it. Ooh. And a bit of a run by here, trying to target down these cannons and probes going off the line. There are a couple of Templars that just hatched out, but there is more than enough forces here from KameZerg to maybe get in here quickly and at least kill this Nexus. But hot on his heels is the Protoss army right now, trying to run it down. He can use the Sim City against Bonyth and make it harder for him to get his units in here to defend. It will be really painful though, because these situations tend to favor the Protoss. The Zerg's army is just all clumped up and unable to get good surface area for optimal firing.
Or anything.
Yeah, at the moment that's the one thing that's really helping KameZerg out a lot. So he's going to maybe kill this Nexus and kill a fair amount of those units. Some pretty good Sonic Shockwave shots on the pack of Mutas. Take them out before the Archon falls. So you can see Bonyth still finding some pretty good trades. And the Nexus never got targeted down.
Nope. So at the end of the day, it's just an army trade, and that one was better for Bonyth.
I mean, it's better for Bonyth either way, but at least killing the Nexus, there's some compensation there, and he didn't get it. Yeah, a little bit rough, to say the least.
The army is, for Bonyth, is actually kind of weak right now. It's, well, I guess there's a few Zealots trickling in, but...
Yeah, he's got a High Templar over here at the 3rd as well. Yeah, it's still winnable for Kame. He's just ever so slightly behind curve. Does get a pretty good Sonic Storm out, but has lost that Templar yet again. And it's, yeah, more or less these pure Dragoons that are doing the heavy lifting for Bonyth, and there's a critical mass that has been reached. So it's really tough for KameZerg to trade into this anymore.
Bonyth want armor, +2 armor before +2 attack here.
That's super common these days.
Is it really common these days? I haven't seen much.
Yeah. You want your units to be more tanky, and the Zerg is not ever going to get +2 Carapace for such a long time that the +1 Zealots will still 2-shot Lings and stuff, you know? So it's quite meta to go 2 armor 1 weapons.
A little bit of a roadblock here.
But it is like one of the only matchups you'll do that. I guess you could do it in PvP, but yeah, in pretty much PvT and PvP, you're still focusing on weapons over armor. This is the one matchup where the meta has shifted a couple of years ago.
Interesting. Well, Bonyth has gotten his Death Ball out. Kame has not the worst supply, but it's not enough to really hold this Death Ball. It's going to come in here and break this base for the third time.
Kind of insane. Oh, there are something going into the main base of Bonyth. Is that Scourge or what is that? Oh, Mutas, okay. It's not really going to do a whole lot. He could maybe kill the Nexus, though. He could kill the probes and the Nexus at the natural, but yeah, not much else. He's not electing to do that, though.
Ooh.
Might catch these High Templars. Ooh. He's going to get at least one of these. Does force out the Storm, so bruises the Mutas. But yeah, 2 High Templars is not terrible.
Yeah, unfortunately, we just don't have enough here at our rally point to actually hold against this push.
No. It's kind of weird because you kind of want lurkers, even though they've got goons to counter the lurkers. You need like a strong line of defense to hold the ground, and lurkers actually trade reasonably well with dragoons on paper as long as you've got enough of them.
Yeah, and they add a lot of extra just splash damage because they'll rip through, you know, a zealot and 2 goons all at once while you're hiding the bulk of everything else.
It just stops the Protoss like diving in on top of you and getting good surface area as well.
Yeah. But at this point, we're breaking the natural.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's not much that can be done. This is probably going to be a 2-0 victory for Bonyth. There are some rallied Hydras trying to come out here and target these down, but KameZerg taps out and Bonyth with a pretty convincing 2-0 lead.
Yeah, honestly, that looked incredibly solid. And like I said, though, that looked a lot better for KameZerg. Well, to be fair, Bonyth did delete half his own probes to help out the cause. But it definitely looked a lot cleaner.
Yeah, but at that point, I think that it was still Bonyth's favorite just because of the craziness and the supply blocking over and over again.
Yeah. It's just, you got to find a way to deal with the Corsairs. It's rough, but games are lost because you just can't deal with the Overlords.
Yeah, but as you noticed, though, even though Bonyth was in a lead for pretty much all of that game, did you notice, like, his army wasn't super strong? Like, his macro is always slipping comparatively to his micro, right? So if you just find a way of surviving the early to mid-game transition as Zerg, you probably will outmuscle Bonyth in that later mid-game phase. It's just that you can't let him get ahead before that time.
Yeah. And it feels bad for Kami because, like you said, any other Protoss, he would be creaming right now. He'd be 2-0 for KameZerg. But it's Bonyth.
He's a good player, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, we don't, like, sometimes it gets talked about, but it's just like the layers of players, right? Where it's like, yeah, you're really good in this layer, but Bonyth's in this layer.
Yeah. He does that to pretty much everyone that's not a foreigner. He'll even sometimes run rings around DeWalt, despite them going overall pretty even games.
Yeah. It's truly impressive because, I mean, Bonyth is just really good at the game. I guess that's the long and short of it, you know?
Yeah, well, he's not just really good at micro, but he's really good at understanding timings, like what you can have at this time and how he can exploit you and how he can always find a way of like getting a tiny edge and then snowballing that lead into a bigger and bigger one.
Yeah. And it's StarCraft is a game where if you can capitalize on the small mistakes your opponent makes, it snowballs very quickly.
Right. Sometimes it's harder to play from ahead. Like there are some players that play better from behind because there's more of a sense of urgency and what you need to do. But if you're a really good player, you actually play just fine when you're ahead.
Yeah. All right. It looks like our players are ready.
All right, guys, let's get into it. Game number 3, KameZerg versus Bonyth on Fighting Spirit. Let's get it on. Spawning here in the bottom left, hailing from Poland, enjoying a 2-0 lead currently, Bonyth as the Blue Protoss. And his opponent, down 2 games, needs to get a clean sweep from this point onwards. KameZerg, the Red Zerg from Sweden.
All right. Back against the wall. Do we think we get anything crazy here?
Maybe. It's a pretty even map for PvZ. Like, it's kind of Imba in other matchups. Like, it's really heavily Terran favor against Zerg, and it's pretty Terran favor against Protoss, but PvZ's pretty good. It's only a small edge here for Zerg. And I think that this is one of the maps that maybe KameZerg could start to turn it around on.
Yeah. Fighting Spirit's got that just like, it's kind of a weird setup because you try and end up defending over here when your cannon line's back here.
Yeah.
But the bridges, man, they're killer. They will ruin your day.
For sure. Let's see if Bonyth's going to do the trick where he like quickly checks the 6 o'clock with his probe. He's actually gone for a Gateway in the main. He's not messing around.
Man.
This is going to be
crazy.
Yeah, he's going to check that 6 o'clock look to see this Overlord. It's very common on this map.
Yeah. I like things like that where it's just, oh, I'm going to poke in here, and if I see your Overlord, I know. And if I don't, well, I also kind of know.
Ooh. Yeah, so it's basically going to be like a 10-12 kind of style gateway timing from 9-12. I didn't see the first gateway, but yeah, a very strong timing from Bonyth in base, and he's gone for 11 hatch, has KameZerg.
The one game we go hatch first.
On paper, you can crush this as Zerg, but you have to be really dialed in. You're typically making like 2 creeps in your natural right away. One of them gets targeted by the Zealots, and you just, you know, let that get targeted, and you morph the other one into a Sunken.
Yeah.
And you just floodlings and you micro well. But if you don't get on top of that right from the start, it can be problematic for the Zerg to deal with.
Yeah, this is where we're going to get our first sign of it. We first see our Zealot. We go, okay,
well,
there's gates in your main.
Yeah, this is good though, because he scouted this. Like, there's a world in which KameZerg doesn't even know this is coming. So the fact that he does means that his defenses could be pretty optimized at holding this. So yeah, this could go Kame's way still.
Yeah, we're gonna get our lings going here. Like you said, we're gonna try and get a couple of creeps down here. Drone's coming back. Hopefully it'll be able to put one down, or is it just gonna run straight into the main?
He's gonna wait for the. He's made 8 lings, so he actually might try and only make 1 sunken if he feels like his micro is good. But it would be good just to throw down 2. But I guess because he scouted it early, it might make sense to just try and catch the Zealot with 8 and then make 1 single sunken. We'll see. Pretty good surround, but not getting the kill. Ooh, he's getting bullied a little bit here. The probe helping out a lot, but he will track that Zealot down and kill it. But he hasn't started a creep colony in the natural just yet. He might try and do this with predominantly lings only. It's very risky to go for this, but if you do have good micro, you can pull it out of the bag.
I think it's just incredible that he got... When you get the first Zealot like that, I think it's just a lot of confidence building of, you know what, maybe I don't need the Sunken. And I'm not entirely sure that's right, because I don't think he realizes it's a 2-gate yet until...
His Overlord sees it, right? He sees the 2-gate. Usually, I mean, a pro player would make a Sunken, is all I can tell you.
Yeah. I guess just be greedy then.
Well, he's making a 3rd hatchery while doing this, so if he just survives the 5 Zealot timing or whatever it's going to be, yeah, this could suddenly turn into a very Kame-sided game, because he's going to have a lot of lava to play with.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Sneaky probe, man.
I'm sitting here like, where the heck is this probe?
You have to hunt it down with the minimap only. All right, here comes the 6 Zealot timing to put on some pressure here. But he has hatched out a lot of Zerg. I think the Overlord Scout really saved the day here, being able to, you know, not make any drones and just make pure Ling right from the start.
Yeah.
Might do a lot of heavy lifting now. He's actually going to try and threaten a counterattack, but he will have to surround these Zealots and not let them get to the ramp. This is a. He needs to drill with the drone or something. Oh, he's not drilling with the drone.
This is a disaster. You can't let him just get in control of your ramp. Right,
okay, here comes the drill from the main. It's still a little bit suboptimal. Probes, so drone's getting targeted down a little bit, but he does glitch out some of the Zealots, but he's not finding optimal surface area.
No,
the game's slipping through KameZerg's fingers ever so slightly. The Zealots are starting to get softened up now. I think he'll eventually clean this up, but he shouldn't have traded this poorly against this. It's unfortunate he let him take the ramp.
Yeah, this was really his game to lose at that point, and if there's ever a moment that's going to swing the game, it's them getting control of your ramp like that.
Yeah. And now he's going to allow Bonyth to wall in safely. Like, he could have cleaned those Zealots up much faster and taken less Zergling losses so that this counterattack actually might be successful, but now I don't think it will be.
No, this is a good wall here. Should be. I don't think that's a gap.
It's not.
Yeah.
Looks a little bit weird, but yeah, it blocks.
Good old Brood War.
Yeah, right? Things that don't look like their walls are, and things that look like their walled aren't.
Yeah. If it looks like a wall, it's probably not. It's a safe bet. You're like, wow, that should be safe. No.
Yeah, so I actually feel like KameZerg should be in a good spot, but he isn't because of that bad trade, which is a shame because he got away of not making any sunkens. So you'd think he would be super solid right now. But another problem with not. Go on.
I was gonna say, yeah, this should be such an advantage for him, but
yeah, well, another reason why you want to make the sunkens is so that you can make less lings and drone harder, and then he would have had a more powerful economy going into this phase of the game. Whereas now he's kind of slightly behind the economy of Bonyth, and he's still getting pressured.
yeah, there's nothing at home right now. We're waiting for lings to pop, but we don't have the lings to take on 6 zealots.
Not really, no. You kind of need to utilize drone drilling to kill these. He actually shouldn't be taking the fight with the lings. He should be trying to bait the zealots into a drill line and then drill them on the ramp. But yeah, unfortunately, he's just trading out too poorly.
All right. Nope. The drill does not go his way. Bonyth says, nope, I'm just going to hide over here in the corner where it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah, but you also should have an overlord in the natural of Bonyth so that he could drill towards the zealots rather than just like to his gas and his main.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Hydrodyne coming down here. It's just... This is the challenge of being greedy, right? Is that...
Yeah.
You're going to try and cut a corner, and then that corner's going to cut you.
I mean, Bonyth is certainly going to cut you. It's Bonyth, so yeah. He's going to trade off these zealots reasonably well now, but I think the damage is already done. Like, the amount of lava that has been spent on lings this entire game is kind of insane.
Yeah. And these lings aren't going to get any more value for quite some time.
No, and Bonyth probably won't send out any more units from this point onwards until much later on, once he's got a much higher gateway count.
Yeah, you're not going to break that with this. You're not going to break the front with these. So now they're just kind of dead weight.
But it's still technically a playable game. For KameZerg, he's just super behind.
Yeah, the only advantage he has is that he's got 3 hatch production.
Well,
we're like half the
more
supply.
now. He's got 4 with a 5th on the way at the 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
He's got this macro hatchery coming up, so it's going to be okay. It's just not good.
Yeah, I didn't count these guys because they're not online yet, but you were right. As we go up to 5 hatch, 3 base with Hydra production, that's a very comfortable comp for Zerg.
Yeah, it's just that he's slowed down by quite a few minutes, whereas Bonyth is only slowed down by like 1 or 2 less minutes. So Bonyth is way ahead of schedule comparatively to him.
Well, it's crazy that we're just seeing the Temple Archives finishing up here a little after 9 minutes.
Well, StarCraft's always relative, right? It's like when you go 8 racks proxy as Terran, like everything is set back by a minute for the tech timings of both players.
Yeah,
and in this situation, even more.
It's unfortunate that there's no way we can actually like take advantage of that.
It's kind of like KameZerg is set back like 3 minutes or more, and Bonyth is set back like 2 minutes or more. So there's like a massive window. KameZerg taps out. GG, well played. That. Good luck. So we are going to be having a Bonyth versus DeWalt semi-finals on. That's going to be insane.
Yes. Oh boy, am I looking forward to that one. That's going to be an absolute banger. That should go. That's going to be an all-afternoon cast, I bet.
Probably. I'll be super surprised if it doesn't go to at least Game 6, and very likely to go to Game 7. They are, on paper, almost dead even with the games they take off of each other, especially in practice. They pretty much go toe-for-toe. There are sometimes, some players do better in certain best of series, but yeah, these guys, historically speaking, are about as dead even as it gets. They're classic rivals. It's like almost like Spear versus Shield, right? You've got the superior micro of Bonyth that's taking trades that DeWalt can't really keep up with, but DeWalt has a really powerful macro engine behind him.
Absolutely. And I feel like everyone kind of looks at that and goes, oh, DeWalt. And I'm like, I guess, but at the same time, I'm like, Bonyth, I think, I don't know who I think wins that, because like we said, it's 50-50. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess we'll have to
I couldn't call it.
There.
I couldn't call it. There is a little bit of asymmetry, I think. Bonyth has won more series recently, but it kind of goes back and forth. Like there's times where DeWalt will win like 4 series in a row, and then Bonyth will win 5 or whatever series in a row. You can't really know for sure what's going to happen between these two guys. And they play against each other a decent amount in practice as well. So they know each other inside and out.
Absolutely. Here, we can even take a look here. We pull up the Wikipedia page. Like we DeWalt waiting. We got Bonyth coming up, as we've been talking about. I think that's going to be going. That's, God, yeah, it's weird that it's the end of December. Like, we're beginning of December already. So it's like, oh, yeah, that's going to be next year.
You have to wait till next year for that game, guys.
Yeah, I know, guys. It's going to be a long wait.
Oh, wait, it's just a few weeks. Never mind.
God, yeah.
Christmas is around the corner, guys.
Dude, it really is. I'm just not ready for it. But you know what goes great with Christmas?
Go on.
Zip-up hoodies.
Ooh, yeah. These are some good quality merch as well. This ain't no print on. This is some actual stitching going on.
Absolutely. It looks so good stitched, too. It's funny because I was looking at them, right? Because I was going to order, I ordered samples in air quotes. Basically, I ordered myself a bunch of it, and, you know, I get to say it's samples. And
I'm sure these merch gone.
Oh, sorry, you finish.
I was going to say, I know these guys in the chat have probably at some point bought some merch, and it's this crappy print on. You put it in the washer, and it already starts to fade right from the get-go. Not going to be the case with this merchandise. It's going to stand the test of time, like StarCraft.
Oh, yeah, and it's, you know, like when you throw a printed shirt in the dryer and it comes out stuck together?
Like, yeah, you're not going to have any of those issues with these.
I hate that so much. But no, this is all stitched down there. And so I make all the pullovers. And then I'm sitting here, I'm like, I prefer zip-up hoodies. Why don't I make one of those? And
yeah,
this burgundy one is absolutely the one I'm ordering. Like, it looks very clean. I mean, all the ones
it does good, actually look good, yeah.
Charcoal's, the white on charcoal looks really good, too.
Yeah, and red, I guess, pops really well. Yeah, it pops. Yeah. Look at that.
It's funny because even on like the lighter colors, this one I'm not as big a fan of, just because I don't know. But I know some people like the really light colors. This one actually does really well. I think the rendering does this one dirty more so than anything.
Yeah, maybe I can see that looking better in person.
Yeah, but I mean, that's gonna look really good.
I'd be a white on black guy though. I'd like the black one a lot. I mean, look at that. Oh, yeah, baby.
You
That's
can
what
never
I'm
get away
talking
from
about.
Classics. The thing is, my entire closet's
contrast.
black already because I've done production for so long. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to add a splashy color. Dark red.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys where like 80% of my wardrobe is black.
Yeah, it just works, man. Except the part where I have a white-haired dog now. So
yeah, that's the worst thing is that pretty much anything like hairs or crumbs or whatever it is, it shows up so much more.
Yes, I need to pick up a new lint roller actually because the girls just get everything, and then it's like you eat something and you're like, oh yeah, you brush all the crumbs off and there's still a bunch everywhere. You're like, how?
Yeah, lint rollers will come in clutch though. You should definitely pick another one up.
Oh, I love them so much. But guys, you know what we love is when you consider supporting us. You know, obviously the merch, the hoodies, guys. It is I don't exactly know what the shipping time is. It obviously depends on where you live, but it's getting close. If you want to get it for Christmas, like, also they have all the quality guaranteed and everything too. So
and they have the code, right? If they put in Platinum 10, they'll get 10% off with their order.
You know, that is 100% true. Here we go. You add this to cart. You know. And then you can go over here, and then there's a for a minute I thought I was gonna film my personal information. I'm like, oh, this might have been a mistake.
I just doxed yourself live on stream. Good job, Arn.
But if you put in Platinum 10, guys, bonk, 10% off.
Nice.
Look at that.
Can't say fairer than that, boys.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, my address is public info, but. Guys, also consider the Patreon, consider the Ko-Fi. Guys, all of this continues on to make sure that we're running more and more StarCraft events, and they keep getting bigger.
Yeah,
This was ambitious, but we can go bigger.
Yeah,
That's all
Rome
I'm gonna
wasn't built
say.
in a day, but it's a work in progress and could be something really special in the future. So make sure you get on the action early and give much
Yes,
love and support to what we're trying to do here.
absolutely. Because every bit counts, man. It all helps, and you know what? It helps us put on more fun stuff for you guys, and I think that's
Yeah,
worth it.
I think so. And StarCraft needs, more events like this. We got a few good ones, but the fact that you're joining the big leagues, kind of
Yeah.
going alongside BSL as well, I think if you give
Yes.
this enough years in the making, it could be something really big and special.
Yeah. So that's. I think that we just really need a lot more like the big production stuff. Like I love my CSL. Don't get me wrong. I stand by running CSL tournaments. I'm wearing the polo for it right now.
Yeah,
But there's
yeah.
something about like the big budget, big effort, like big.
Yeah, yeah. You can see like Zero's had so much success with that, right? He pours
Yeah.
his heart into that production,
Oh
and you
God,
can
he
see that
does.
fruit of his labor really shining through.
It's incredible, and yeah, we hope one day that we can be as awesome as that.
Hey, man, it's a tough shoes to fill, but it's doable. And I think that as long as you stay on track with what you've been doing recently, you certainly could be, yeah, aligning to that in the next year or so.
Yes, but that only thanks to you guys, all of your donations, all of your biddies, all your subs, all of it, all of that makes this possible, guys. We thank you. And with that, I think that's all we got today. Son,
Yeah.
would you like to say anything to the fans, your adoring fans? Obviously, couldn't come here for you.
I doubt it. I'm sure there's a couple of guys, but yeah, if you don't know, if you go over to Saiyan KCM on YouTube, we do a weekly KCM event. It's really fun. It's basically a race war where three pros from each respective race duke it out. That's super awesome. If you want to support what we do, as in Saiyan and I, you can go to a Patreon page, Saiyan's Duocast, and show some love there. But yeah, just come check us out. We'll also be casting the ASL on StarCast TV. We do the SCSL as well as some other stuff. So yeah, come check us out.
Yeah, there's some good stuff on the KCM channel. I just pulled it up for everyone. There's some good stuff on here. You absolutely should be taking a look
Yeah,
at
even
this.
if you're not watching the KCM, like Saiyan himself does a lot of good stuff on that channel. So it's definitely one to go sub to and check out.
Yes. Well, thank you all for watching, guys. It is greatly appreciated. And we look forward to seeing you next Saturday, guys,
Yeah,
with set 4, and that's going to be Tarson and Dragon.
nice.
Ooh.
Thanks, guys, so much. We'll see you there.